All right, here we go. Welcome, everyone, back to another episode of the Reyes Reflection Podcast. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram at I'm Nathanael Reyes, where the link is in my bio. Free to subscribe, as always, wherever you get your podcast. Now, my next guest is doing some great things. She's a talented singer, a wife, and a contestant of this upcoming season of The Voice. So please welcome Kate Kalvach. Thank you for coming on.
Hey, thanks for having me. I'm so excited.
No problem, no problem. So you grew up in Pittsburgh. You're living in Oklahoma City now. Tell me about life in Pittsburgh. What was it like? Are you a Steelers, Pirates fan, anything like that?
So I'm horrible at all sports, have never done anything athletic in my life, hate watching sports. But my parents loved the Steelers, and like Pittsburgh is a sports town, so you
Oh
can't
yeah.
really say that without getting hit with something. So yeah, I grew up wearing Steelers jerseys, going to Pirates games and stuff, but you know.
Yeah, the black and yellow. Yep, yep.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Black and yellow, black and yellow.
yeah, right.
That was like our lifetime theme song.
I love that. I love that. And obviously, it's based on there. Yep, obviously.
Yeah.
Yep, good times. Good times. So, did you move to Oklahoma City, or you were born and raised in Pittsburgh? Is that correct?
I was born in California, and
Oh,
my parents
fun.
have always been like in ministry. They were in like seminary school in California when I was born. And so yeah, and they traveled a lot, and they like spoke at different churches and sang at different churches and stuff. So like most of my early life was traveling with them.
Mm.
And like I got to hear my dad speak all the time, and my mom would play the piano and I would sing sometimes. And then we moved to Pittsburgh when I was like 6. So
Okay.
most of my childhood was there. And then in my senior year of high school, we moved to Oklahoma City.
Oh, was it during your senior year of high school?
Yeah, I missed like graduation and prom and everything.
Yeah, with everyone that you knew, everyone that you essentially grew up with, because like you said, 6 years old, you grew up with them,
Yeah,
elementary school, middle school, all that stuff. Wow, that must
yeah.
have been tough for you. So, what were some of your hobbies then in high school if you weren't really into sports? Were you always into singing?
Yeah, I sang like at our church all the time, on Wednesday nights, Sunday mornings. And like I did high school musicals a little bit. I was in
The
choir.
actual high school musical? Like
No.
the
The big one I did was Annie Get Your Gun. I
Oh,
was
that's a
actually
good one.
Annie.
That's a
So
good
that
one.
was cool. And then we did Scrooge one year as well.
Nice. So for the Christmas show. Yeah, that's really
Yeah.
cool. So you were
My
into
brother
theater.
oh, sorry. My brother was Tiny Tim, and I was the like mom of Tiny Tim, so it was cute.
That's awesome. Yeah, so you were into theater. Those were more your hobbies and things like that while you were in high school.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I actually started like a band in our church. We had a bunch of girls my age. So we called ourselves the Agape Angels, which means like love
Yep.
in yeah. So anyways, we had like a horrible band that no one will ever hear, but we made a CD and stuff. So yeah.
Doesn't agape mean like endless love or unconditional or
Yeah.
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 Yeah, it's
And
like
our church at the time was called Agape Church, so we were like playing off of that too.
yeah, yeah, a little play on words there. Yep, that's really cool. So, you grew up singing in church. When did it transition for you into becoming more of a career rather than just a hobby?
Um, it still kind of is a hobby because I do work full time at my church still. But I think when I met my husband, that's when it really started to shift for me because he was like, "You really need to release." Like I had all these pop songs, but I wasn't really showing them to anybody. And he was the one who was like, "These are really good. You need to start like recording them." And he was working on learning production at the time too. So like we built a home studio, and yeah, it kind of just started from him, I guess.
So you said he was in production. So for you, it was more so of like he kind of was helping you and encouraging you to put yourself out there in that way. That must have been challenging for
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, and I think he is a rapper from the Czech Republic, so like he had already made it. When I met him, he was like touring and he was on the radio and
No
stuff like
way.
so he like already had been through that path, and when I met him I was like, "Oh dang, you can actually do this." Like he went from the ground up in his country. And so yeah, it was like and then he started to get into more of the technical side of things like making his own beats and wanted to play with some of my songs and stuff. So it was kind of like an evolution of like him coming from artist to also producer and wanting to help me with my artistry. And I don't know. So we kind of do it all right now.
When he heard your stuff, was it you covering songs or was it your own songs?
Both probably.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've also written some of your own songs.
Yeah, I have some songs out on Spotify and everything. And like Matt, my husband, did all of the production on those, like from scratch.
Wow. Wow, that's
Yeah.
really cool. Well, we'll transition into Matt. So he's from the Czech Republic, as you stated. When did you two meet?
We met in college. I went to like a million different colleges, didn't know what I was going to major in. And he came here from the Czech Republic to some tiny little Christian university. And then I somehow ended up at that tiny Christian university. We were both in the music department. We played in the jazz band together. And yeah, we just met and pretty much dated like the day we met and then got married pretty quick. So
It's ever since then, the rest is history. That's pretty cool.
yeah.
So he was into music, and he was a music major. You were a music major as well.
Yeah.
Was he already a performer at that time when you met him?
Yeah, he had honestly, he gave up a lot to come here and go to school, but he felt like God told him to do it. But he had been like at the height of his career at that point, like touring, being asked to come to all these massive festivals and stuff. And yeah, he just came.
Wow, and clearly it worked out for him because he met the love of his life. So clearly that worked out
Yeah.
for him. I saw some photos online. So did you have two separate weddings, one for like his side and one for your side?
Yeah, we did one in Oklahoma City and then one in Czech. So it was really cool.
Yeah, I saw some of the photos. They look like beautiful ceremonies. How was it getting married in a different country? Was that what was that experience like?
It was really different. Like in Czech, they do weddings that sometimes take up a whole weekend. Like it's a massive deal. And so, like, one tradition is friends and family of the bride or groom or both will like create a whole skit. And so, when I got there, I had no idea what to expect. I was expecting like an hour ceremony, and it ended up being like all day long, where they had like a whole skit they had been working on for months. And like, it was just insane, like over the top, really beautiful. They did a great job.
You're like, we're not in the States anymore. No.
No, it was cool. I mean, they even had wine in the church, like, for the wedding.
Really?
That was a shock for, like, my parents and stuff because you grow up with church people, and most of the time they don't drink, but we're, like, in the church with wine being passed out and,
Yep.
all
Th-
the festivities. It was crazy.
Does he still have a lot of family out there?
Yeah, his whole family still lives there. He's the only one here, so.
So that was good for him then. So that way you were able to have that experience with his family as well on top of yours, because your family flew out. I'm assuming, right?
Yeah, my parents and my siblings came.
Okay, where do you fall in line with your siblings? Are you middle, oldest?
I'm the oldest,
You're the
yeah.
oldest.
I'm 7 years older than my sister and 10 or 9 years older than my brother.
Oh wow,
So,
so little age gap there, but yeah,
yeah.
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 Must be pretty cool. I mean, because if you were like in your teen years and they're like still toddler or not toddlers, but they're like early school age, you're probably like, get away from me. Yeah, but
Yeah.
they probably thought you were like a superhero and the coolest thing ever. Just seeing.
I don't know. They drove me nuts back then. They would gang up on me and stuff because they were like
Oh yeah,
BFFs
and
and
they're
I was the
closer in
annoying
age.
one.
That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah, you said they're 3 years apart. Yeah, that's pretty
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, that's awesome.
But now they're my best friends. Like we hang out all the time. And Matt and I, when we first got married, we lived with my parents for a year to save money to buy a house and
Yep.
stuff. So like the four of us are basically inseparable at this point. We
Yeah.
just have bonded and
The four of
it's
you are a clan
yeah,
whenever it comes through.
yeah,
So
yeah.
what about the wedding in Oklahoma City? How was that like?
It was wonderful. Like everything I dreamed of, honestly. It was just really beautiful. And then a lot of Matt's family was able to come from the Czech Republic for that as well. So it was just amazing.
Did you have two separate dresses?
I had the same dress. It was too expensive to swap. I was lucky to get 2 times wearing out of it. So
What about
yeah.
Matt? Did Matt get two different suits?
No, same
No,
suit.
same.
Although he's the type that would have liked that.
That's funny. That's funny. Good stuff. So, present day, you had your blind audition. You sang "Rainbow" by Casey Musgraves. We talked off camera. one of my favorite artists, female artists of all time. Like, she's amazing.
Mine too.
Why did you decide to choose that song?
It was honestly the first song that came to mind. There was a guy in our church, one of my really good friends, his father passed away, and one of his like nieces really loves that song. And it was just like all through that time I was getting a chance to pick my Blind Audition song, and one of the little girls like sang that song, and it just really moved me when she sang it. And so it was just like fresh on my mind, and it was really like moving at the moment. So I don't know. That's kind of where it came from.
So it was the song that just popped out at you because you
Yeah.
have a list to choose from, right?
Yeah, they had a really big list. And honestly, like we submitted quite a few songs for consideration, and Rainbow was my number one choice. So I just got lucky that
it
they
just
picked
worked
my
out that
first
way.
one.
I see you have the butterfly with your name. That's also one
Yeah.
of her favorite my favorite songs. Have you heard that one, Butterflies by her?
Yeah, I love that one.
Yeah, that's a good one. Any significance on that? Or is that your favorite kind of sort of I don't know what you'd call it, soul creature, soul animal?
Not really. It's just like my favorite emoji right now. I'm like using it on everything. I wish there was more significance, but
I love the honesty, though. I love you like, no, not really. It's just it's my favorite one right now. So if we ever do a second interview and I see like the smiley face upside down one, now I know why. All right.
yeah.
That's
It changes frequently, but
yeah. I love it. So that's like your sign off whenever you're like texting. You're like, all right, I'll talk to you later. Bye. And then you like put the little butterfly. That's pretty cool.
That or like a heart. I always do that.
Yeah. So I'm a big Casey Musgraves fan. I also saw on your promo leading up to your blind audition that you didn't even tell your family that you were doing the blind audition. How are you able to keep that a secret away from your loved ones?
Oh my gosh, it's been so hard. Like I told some of my family like, hey, this might be a possibility, but I had tried out for the show before. Like I tried out for American Idol twice. I tried out for The Voice in 2015. And so it never went anywhere. The first time I posted about it on Facebook, and I was like regretting it because I didn't even get through the first round. So this time I just took the approach of like waiting and just seeing what happens. But when they gave me the call of like, hey, we want you to come to LA, I immediately drove to my parents' house, and it was like in the middle of the night, basically. All the lights were off in their house and they're just like watching TV. And I came in and they were like, we knew immediately it was going to be something like that. So yeah, it was pretty cool. They were like in shock, and it was really fun.
I saw that your mom was like, she kept it a secret. She kept it a secret this whole time. And did you even keep it away from your husband too?
Oh no, my husband knew about it. I had too many Zoom calls and stuff for him. Like he would have been like, what is going on in your life right now?
He would have been like, what operations are you working on right now? Because I need to, do we need to change our last name right now? Let me know. So on TV, on your blind audition, it appeared that it took almost your entire, I believe you get a minute and a half, 90 seconds, your entire performance before they turned around. Is that really how it went down?
Oh yeah, it's definitely how it went down. It felt like I was standing there for 3 hours on stage. Like it would never end. It was awful.
Oh my goodness, I can't imagine. And I'll say this. So, huge fan, obviously, reaching out and getting thank you for doing the show again. So I jokingly, with some family members, would pretend to sing and then see if they would press the button. And I am like, and I know that that's not real. And even I was nervous of like, when are they going to press their button? And then so for you, I can imagine opportunity of a lifetime. You have 4 icons in the industry. Their back turned to you, essentially. They don't know you from a hole in the wall. And you still have to perform if they don't turn around. And on top of that, when they do turn around, you still have to perform as well.
Yeah.
So did you have to still sing after they already turned around?
Barely. It was like one line. And if you pay attention, I'm like, there's always been a rainbow, and then I'm like, hey, get over your head. At the end, like I just completely lost it at that moment. So honestly, it may have been a blessing that they didn't turn around, because I don't know if I could have gotten through the rest of the performance or not, but
Yeah. Hey, it goes the way it's supposed to go. That's what I always say. I mean, so that must have been really terrifying for you to be there again, putting yourself out there. You finally make it to this point in your music career, and they didn't turn around until the very end. What was that like for you?
When I practiced the song, that first high note I sing, I expected they were gonna turn around there, like, that's the moment, and so it was kind of defeating, like, when I didn't see anybody turn around at that point, but I made a decision, I was like, "I am just gonna power through, I'm not gonna let it defeat me, like, I'm gonna hit that last note and see if they turn around then." So, when they turned around at the moment that I, like, mentally kind of prepared and was, like, manifesting it to happen
Yeah.
there, that was very, like, rewarding, I guess, and it felt really good, but yeah, it was just, like there's so many things going through your head, like, I'm thinking my friends and family came out here, they're here waiting for me, I'm gonna disappoint them, like, it was just a lot, you know? So much is happening.
Yeah, there's a lot of moving parts. You have the audience cheering you on. You
Yeah.
have your own personal nerves. You have, and I'm sure you saw this on TV. Maybe you heard it, maybe you didn't. But you even have like Camila Cabello being like, "She's really good. Why are we not turning around?" And she's like, spearheading
Yeah.
that sort of rally to get them to turn around.
Mhm,
And
and I didn't hear that. You can't hear what the coaches are doing, you can't see anything. So, like, I had no idea what they were thinking.
and now you saw post production. They were really high on you from the
Yeah.
beginning, but for some reason they didn't turn around. Does that make you feel a little better about yourself? Like,
Yeah, maybe a little, like, even seeing John's face and he didn't turn for me, he looked like he was really considering it, so it makes
yeah,
me feel a little better, you know?
yeah.
The cool thing is, like, so my dad, my siblings, and my best friend, won tickets to that taping. So they were in the studio audience,
Oh,
like,
no
right in front of the
way.
coaches, and so after my audition, they were like, "If you only knew, like, Camila was trying to get Blake to turn, and they looked like they wanted to turn," and my dad said, "We were just screaming at them, like, 'Turn around!'"
That's awesome. I didn't know that you could get tickets to be there. That's pretty
It was
cool.
totally a happenstance thing, like, they just signed up on a website and won, like, 4 tickets, so
That's awesome. That's
yeah.
awesome.
I didn't know they would be there either until, like, the night before.
That's
So it
right,
was
because in the back room, it was just your mom and your husband. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. And then you ended up getting a big, much more support. So a big
yeah.
support. So either way, no, that again, everything happens the way it's supposed to. So, there was a lot of shenanigans when they turn around.
Yes.
Camila get muted. Blake brought out a go or attempted to. So how long did that mute thing really go down? Was that real or was that post production?
It was real and it was so long. Like, I first of all, I didn't know that Blake was the one who muted her. I didn't know it was a bit. I didn't know it was funny. I was like, I legit wanna hear what Camila's saying. I'm so
Yeah.
stressed out right now. And I'm like, how can this production team not know how to unmute her or come fix her mic by now? Like, that's what's going through my head. Yeah, and, anyways, so yeah, and it went on, like, way longer than they can show on TV. I mean, they can't show everything, you know,
Right,
so
right. And
yeah.
even for TV purposes, I thought it was pretty long. I like so I wanted to ask you because I was like, on TV, that went on for like 2 minutes. And that's
Yeah.
that's a long time in TV time, in air time. So I was like, I wonder how long it really went down for you because I think you tried to give her your mic as
Yeah.
well to try to help her out, and then and you're like, what is going on? Yeah, no, man,
Yeah, it was crazy. I mean, it was kind of fun, but also I was you're just, like, stressed out. That whole day is not relaxing.
right.
So I'm just like I don't know. It was just a lot. It was fun, though.
And I'm sure in the moment, you were like, again, like you said, I don't understand how they can't get this right. I need to hear what she says for me
Yeah.
to like, maybe it'll help sway my decision, maybe it won't. But why can't I listen to what she has to say right now? Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, and Blake really did try to bring out a goat. That really
Mhm.
happened, huh? Okay.
Yeah, yeah, and I, again, didn't really understand. Maybe I'm slow or something, but I was like, "What is happening? Why aren't you saying why you want me on your team? What is up with the GOAT?" I just didn't understand, you know? So, yeah, that's why I said, like, "You didn't even fight for me," because I felt like he hadn't fought for me, but little did I know there was this GOAT every day of filming, and he had been saving it for somebody to bring it out and be like, hey, you're the GOAT, so I want you on my team, the GOAT's team. But like, I didn't know that. This was my first time seeing him,
Yeah.
Once I got it, I was like, oh, I kind of feel bad for calling him out,
Well, so I want to touch on that. So you had him squirming because when you said you did not fight for me, he turned on a light switch that he's never turned on before. He was like,
I know.
we're Oklahoma. Come on. So what was that like for you? I mean, he really did fight for you after you called him out on it and said you hardly fight for me.
Well, what was funny is I had kind of decided I honestly decided I might go with Gwen, which was unexpected.
Yep.
I had Camila and Blake on my mind, but like they didn't show everything that Gwen said, but she was like, I would love to hear you on an album. Your voice was so angelic. Like she was saying a lot of things that were really like touching me. So I had already made up my mind, like I'm going with Gwen. And then when he started like really fighting for me, I was just so conflicted and like honored, and I don't know, it was just so many emotions were going on. Like you can't prepare for that moment really. Like you prepare and prepare, like I hope a chair turns, but then they turn, they're staring at you waiting for you to make a decision, and you're just like, what am I supposed to do? The crowd is yelling and I couldn't hear my friends and family. I saw my other family like in the crowd like screaming, but I have no idea what name they're screaming. Like it was just chaotic.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like it, and in real time, I'm sure it's a lot longer, but it also feels a lot quicker at the same time. It probably is an outer being experience because it's probably like it's so fast, but it's so short and so long at the same time. And
yeah, definitely.
Like, because you just said it right there, like even just like the bit with the muted mic and stuff like that must have felt an eternity. And not only that, you just said you're only singing for 90 seconds, but it must have felt like you're up there for, you said close to 3 hours, just because of your perception of reality is probably just it's probably questioned at that point, at that moment in time. But your decision ended up getting spread out between episode 1 and 2. And you ultimately decided Blake Shelton. Why did you ultimately make that decision?
I've watched The Voice since it came out, so I've just always loved Blake. He's been the one consistent person through the whole show. Also, the Oklahoma thing, and like my family really wanted me to go with him. He just seems like, and he is really down to earth, really like just like easy, very approachable. You know what I mean? And like no star quality, really, like not this like high up kind of vibe. Like he's just really down to earth and easy to work with. So yeah, I think that's mainly what really pushed me towards him. It just felt really comfortable, like family or something,
He does give you that vibe. He gives you that vibe of like, I know like Camila and like I think Ariana Grande said it last season, of like grandpa or uncle. Like he kind of gives you that vibe of like your uncle at a cookout that would make jokes, be silly, but like authentic. He's just very talented in singing. So it's very, and it just, there's that authenticity level that he has. And I feel like that, not that they all don't have it, but I think something with him, it just, I know what you mean. I get that like, oh, I could have a relative that's like Blake Shelton.
Right. Well, yeah, it's like living in Oklahoma City, and I go to church with like, I feel like I go to church with 20 Blake Sheltons.
Yep.
Like they're all so much like him. It's the same, like just hometown, like good old guy, like with integrity and authenticity and stuff. So, and he really is that way, like on and off camera, I would say.
That's awesome. Some personal questions I have for you is, if you could go back in time and rework one thing or change one thing about either how you performed, or is there anything that you would change?
Yes, pretty much all of it.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to listen to it because I can just feel how nervous I am.
Okay.
And like in a lot of the comments and stuff, people are like, man, she sounds good, but she sounds nervous, And so I just wish I could have been a little more confident. But the good news is I feel like with battles coming up, I definitely boosted my confidence a little bit, like having Blake work with me and stuff. So I'm excited for you guys to see that.
Well, and you know yourself better than anybody. So for you, you're probably like, have this higher standard where other people are like, oh, like I sense that she's nervous, or, oh, she's great. I didn't sense it. I didn't even sense it. So there you go.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't sense any nervousness on your end. I thought you did great because and again, maybe it's because I put myself in those shoes. If that were me, I probably would have, word vomit. I would not.
Yeah.
I'm not a singer in general. I wish I was, but I definitely could not do it. And another question I want to ask you is, what advice could you give to someone who would like to be in your shoes at some point and, auditioning for The Voice?
I think, honestly, just being confident in who you are as an artist, because, like, you show up and there's a lot of prep leading up for the blind audition, and you're gonna hear, like, all the other people singing leading up to this, and you're gonna see, like, if you don't go on the first day of filming, you might hear who got a 4-chair turn and who didn't get any chairs and stuff, and it's like, if you don't know who you are, it can be so debilitating. It can just break you. And honestly, I've thought many times I'm grateful that I wasn't able to do this in like 2015 because I don't think I would have been ready. It's a lot more of a mental pressure than anything else. And so just going in like ready and secure in your identity is probably the most important part.
Wow, I love that. So just kind of staying in your lane because you're right. It is a competition show at the end of the day. And
Yeah.
yes, there's some camaraderie, there's some friendships there. But at the end of the day, you are trying to win. And there's also the what's in your lane. So staying in your lane, owning that. I like that. That's beautiful advice. So I appreciate that. So where can people find you so they can also follow you on this journey and also find your music? I know you touched up earlier in the episode that you do your own music. So where can people find you?
Just Kate Kalvach on anything, YouTube, TikTok, Spotify, Apple Music, Instagram. Just search Kate Kalvach and you'll find it.
Kalvach is Kalvach, right?
Yep,
Yep.
that's
Perfect.
it.
Yeah, for the audio audience. Um,
Yeah.
so Kate, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate you coming on.
Thank you. This was fun.
Awesome. I'm glad. I'm glad you had fun. I had a great time too. So again, do not forget to click the subscribe button. Follow me on Instagram. I can be heard on Apple, Spotify, Google, and YouTube. All that fun stuff. And as always, remember, may you live, may you love, and may you thrive. I'm the male Oprah, and I love you all.